Welcome back everyone, look at this beauty. 1980s Muddy Fox Courier from when there used to be real bikes. So this can be a strip down to the frame, clean, lubricate, maybe some fresh cables on it. I've even got the original tyres to go on it as well. So stick around and see how she looks at the end. I think you'll be impressed with this one. So regular viewers will have seen the black Fuji road bike conversion where we put the drop bars on it. Beautiful, beautiful bike. Great video. If you've not already seen it, check it out. It's fantastic. Anyway, I exchanged that bike for something else and this is what I got in exchange. I think I did pretty well out of it, to be fair. Classic Muddy Fox Courier from 88, 89. Can't remember off the top of my head. But yeah, it's actually pretty much all original. Like I say, I've got the original tyres. I have the original grips on order. They've not arrived yet for this video, unfortunately, but they are actually on order. Original saddle is immaculate, really, to be fair. We are going to strip it all the way down to the bare frame though, clean everything up, lubricate, get rid of any corrosion we can find, hopefully, stick her back together and see how she rolls. Good old Suntour on this one as well, so that'll keep some of you happy, won't it? Alright, let's get stuck in. Now, I'm told everything on this actually works and it's usable as is, so it's not a good start, is it? Oh dear. Oh no. The gears don't work, that's for sure. We go down, think of up. Some people will say that's as good as Suntour ever got, but I think we can get her a little bit better than that. Alright, not great there. Front derailleur. Oh, we got oval chain rings on here as well. Interesting. Front mate works. We've got a U-brake down here as well, so we'll have a look at that. I didn't see many of them around, that's for sure. Original Muddy Fox bare traps on here. These are unusual design, an extra sort of bit of cage in here. Muddy Fox oval chain rings, I don't know they did them, to be fair. Look at that blatant Biopace rip-off. Still look in decent condition as well. Suntour XCD 4050, Suntour cassette. Yeah, I'm not sure about this purple bit. Also got the original tyres to go on. These Billy Bonkers are actually in really good condition, so I'll keep them for another project. Original saddle actually in really, really nice condition as well. Quick release is a bit on the crusty side. We'll see if we can clean that up in Muddy Fox stem with a roller for the cantilever brake. Again, headset feels good, but we'll have all this out and get it stripped down. I'm not sure if this bottle cage is original, but these bolts are pretty crusty, so we'll at least replace those. I don't think it came with this cat as standard, did it? No, you're gonna help? Okay, thanks. So lovely Suntour thumb shifters on these with optional friction as well. We've looked at these on a few other bikes, but these are, look at the size of these are proper chunkies. Massive diacompi brake levers, look at the size of these things. Feel really good actually, the brake cables I think are in really good condition, so we'll probably leave these as they are. By Muddy Fox headset, look at that. Wow, crazy cantilevers here, again with some purple bits that are not staying. Again, they actually got really nice spring tension on them, they look fairly well balanced. So this bike is allegedly rideable, so we'll have a look. No issues with any of the bearings, these all feel really good. These grips are certainly not original. I'll say I have got some Muddy Fox original grips on the way for this project, however, they've not arrived yet, so we'll have to do some AI magic for this one. Look, there you go. That's what they're going to look like. This really is from back in the day when Muddy Fox were a good brand. You know, they've gone to Muddy Faux now, as people will call them, and they're just, well, there's no comparison. These were decent bikes back in the day. I think this is actually going to clean up really well, to be fair. So let's make a start. Well, it's getting a bit late in the day, but I do want to get it stripped down to a bare frame today because I want to put some of these rusty bits into the rust off to show you what it does. So let's just quickly strip it down to a bare frame again. Gears are terrible. Wow. Tight enough, isn't it? Billy Bonkers. What can I use these for? I'm going to have to find something to put these on there. Anyway, I'm going to lay it down so I can get it past the brake. They're a bit too bonkers for the brake. Take the valve out, it's the easiest way. Right, now you'll come out. There you go. Tyres are coming off anyway, so front wheel's on a quick release, and we've got a quick release for the canties as well, so easy. No safety tabs back in the day, look at that. Drops straight out, that does. Get this chain off without, because there's no quick link on this chain, so what I'm going to do is just push this link almost all the way out, but just leave a little bit hanging in. This is what we used to do back in the day before quick links. And then you should be able to just flex this chain out, and the part of the pin there that's sticking in, we'll just basically hook it, then we'll push it back in. But you don't do it nowadays like that. Definitely don't do that on an 11 or 12 speed or anything daft. It's not ideal, but this is likely to be a wall hanger or garage queen anyway. It's unlikely to be ridden up the side of a mountain, that's for sure. Cable's actually in pretty good condition, so what I'm going to do is cut this off, see if we can reuse the cable. If not, we'll be at least be able to use it for the front derailleur. And I don't think this purple's doing it any favours, unfortunately. I do like this. Look at the quality of these to put into these. Very much got a soft spot for Suntour stuff. Long gone now though, unfortunately. But I do want to bike in with XC Pro at some point. So if anyone's got one that they want to feature, send it over. We'll do a film on you. There's no slotted cable guides on here, unfortunately. So everything has to come out the hard way. Look, this is interesting. Look, the cable going through that boss. That's original. That's how it should be. Wow, look at that. Straight through the middle of the frame. No guide on it, nothing. Just straight through there. This is a U-brake. We'll have this off in a minute. Let's get these cranks off first. Let's see how tight these aren't. These are nutted, not bolted. Yeah, not very tight. I think these have been painted back in the day. White, almost white. Sugino. That was very loose, that one. Bit too loose, that one. My funky Junior crank puller doesn't work on nutted axles. It doesn't go in far enough. So I have to use an old school one. If you've got one of these, it's just a normal crank remover. Just screws in. Super easy. Presuming nobody's damaged the threads. I'm waiting for one with a damaged thread because I've got several ways I can show you how to get that off. I don't want to damage one just for the sake of it. It's got a fixed cup on it, so I'm going to get a chance to, I've bought a new fixed cup tool. So I'm going to get a chance to play with that, which I'll be looking forward to. Another spanner. Nice bottom bracket on this. Make sure you get really good engagement on these threads. Straight and quite deep as well. Don't hang it on by one thread. It's just rip it straight out. That's more than enough, and this practically fell off already, look. Right, let's get this Suntour mech off. 9 on Shimano. What is it on here? 8 on Suntour. Of course it is. Of course it's an Allen key down this side as well. Well, this will clean up lovely, that will. Couple of 4s on here. These are definitely getting replaced. Tempted not to put this back on, to be fair, but we'll see how I feel. Because they look way cooler than the bolt cage. Look at them, they look cool. This is a U-brake, similar to a caliper, but kind of not really similar to a caliper, if you know what I mean. It basically a centre pull here, so they call it a U-brake. It pulls from the middle there and just clamps on the rim. Very, very powerful, but the problem with these is there's very little mud clearance as well, so they tend to, especially when you put them down the bottom of the chainstays, they just tend to get clogged up with mud in no time and basically put you to a standstill, so they're faded out pretty quickly. Unhook it off the straddle cable, so we need to take this out to get it through the bottom bracket guide. And then we've got to get this bottom bracket out, which is no problem. No more purple. Take this out. 30 odd years that's been there, it came straight out. Now I've got the brake itself off. You can see how crusty these bolts are because of where they sit. Just a bit of crud in here we need to get out first. I'll show you how to adjust these, they're quite interesting. I actually really like the way these adjust. But when we fit it back on, I'll show you how it's done. Jeez, that was tight. That didn't come off for a while, has it? Pretty tight. You'll be impressed how you adjust these, they're really cool. Yeah, they're great brakes, really good power, but they're just, the mud was the problem. I'm going to get the front end off and then we'll come back to the bottom bracket because I want to play with that new tool. So I get these grips off, they're not going to go back on. I've got something else, even if the other ones don't arrive, I've got something a bit better to go on than these. They don't suit this bike. Lock-ons are good, but they're definitely not period correct for this bike. Right, I'm just going to disconnect these cables out of these massive brake levers, spin them around like that. Push that and it'll just unhook. Same on this one. That's that one there. Gear cables, we can pull these outers off now because we've already disconnected all the inners. These gear cables will just push literally straight out of there. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that, does it? Like I say, they're in pretty good condition, so I'll try and reuse these. Even a Muddy Fox handlebar. This is a survivor, this, isn't it? Look at it. Really good condition as well. Yeah, I think I did okay on my swap on this one, to be fair. Get these brake levers off. And the shifter, what have you got? A little 8mm down the back there. I've done a lot of videos now and it's hard to say what people prefer, but the older bikes seem to get a bit more love than the newer stuff when I put them on, that's for sure. I keep a lot of variety on the channel though, so I've just filmed one today with £25,000 worth of 2 bikes. Yeah, quite nice. I'll tell you straight away which one I prefer, but I'll fix anything, you know that. Right, this is off. I'm even going to take this bar out, you know, everything. Should be a 6 down here, yep. Normally I'd take the assembly out complete, but let's go to town. Take everything off. Carefully. Nice. I need to disconnect this brake first before I can get the stem off again. Just unhook this straddle cable. Sorry, purple. Purple's for the 90s, not the 80s. That's tight. This will just pull out the stem now on its funky little roller. 1 6mm bolt on here, that could be. That's actually already loosened. I loosened it for storage purposes. A little love tap just to free off the expander inside. Well, that should come out now. There you go. A little bit of corrosion down here. These are where they really seize this bit here. Cast basically metal, it just seizes solid in the steel steerer. Right, we'll drop this headset off now. Tight. There should be 2 nuts there. Muddy Fox. Loose proof mechanism. There you go, that's why it's only got 1 nut. I tried to reinvent it. It looks exactly like any other headset to me. Have we got loose balls or have we got caged? Place your bets. Oh, there you go. A massive spring washer. That's a loose proof mechanism. That's hard to say. And a serrated washer goes into there. Oh, okay. I get you. So that's basically stopping it from coming loose. So all you need to do basically there is adjust this down to where you want it. Drop this in with its little slot which goes in the back of the fork. Like so. And that will basically lock it on with that spring washer on the top nut. Quite clever actually. A bit over engineered, but quite clever. I think they're caged tight wear. That's it. It's just one little dodgy thread. I've got a thread cutter for this, so we might be able to just run that down if it's, I think it's a 1 inch. I've got a 1 inch for it as well, so we might just run that down when we refit it, because that tool never gets used anyway, so I feel sorry for it. Cage bearings, there you go. Again, looking in really good condition. The other one's still on the fork, so looking good. I'm going to knock these out as well because I want to get some rust off them. So to get them out, you need one of these, basically a big spring piece of metal. Drop it in here. It springs out like so behind the cup, and then you just hit it with a hammer till it comes out. And normally it goes through the ceiling because you hit it so hard. It's not tight. I'm just trying to do it controlled, otherwise it just launches itself. Still, I was trying to catch it and it still went. And the bottom one, you just do exactly the same. Wait till it clips in and then just tap it out. There you go. And then just pull the tool out, easy. It's front end done. Bottom bracket, saddle. We'll take the saddle out next actually. So this is just a quick release. Obviously I'm holding the bike by the seat post at the moment, so that'll have to come out. We'll clamp the frame. Well, there's no issues there. Sometimes they're seized. You know, I'll have to clamp the frame instead. It's solid steel though, guys. Don't worry, you're not going to damage anything. Just avoid the stickers. Right, now we need to get this bottom bracket out. I needed access to the other side first. Hold on. Just looking inside the frame now. It's absolutely immaculate. There's no corrosion. It's all sweet in there. That's good. Right, get this quick release out because this is one bit I don't want to drop into the rust remover overnight. Let's get this bottom bracket out. So we'll just spin this off first. Oh, it wasn't very tight. I didn't touch that honestly. A peg spanner should drop straight into these holes. Hopefully, yep, lines up. And just unwinds what's slipped. Again, this looks like it's been out at some point for sure. We've got cage bearings on this one as well, so that's easy. And a rubber sleeve. Look at that, it's immaculate. Jeez. Look at that, spotless. Tangy. We still haven't decided how to pronounce it, have we? Right, so the last thing to come out is the fixed cup. This is a new tool I bought for fixed cup remover. So basically I think this goes through the bottom bracket. This will clamp on the fixed cup the other side, then this screws here, holds it on, and then you basically just turn the handle. That's the theory anyway. It's quite a short handle though. I don't know how much leverage we're going to get on there. I'm just going to put some grease in here though because it's a bit dry. I think it's going to be a bit of torque involved. Well, let's see how this goes. Put that on the cup on the other side. Screw that into the tool. Go as tight as you want, I guess. Just not too tight to damage the bearing cup, but it needs to be a good fit like that. And then we're just going to turn this lever. I'll turn the bike around so you can see. Being a fixed cup, it's got a left-hand thread, so this will unscrew clockwise down here. So basically all I need to do now is, well, there you go. That worked out, didn't it? I mean, I don't know how tight that was. I've never been at it before. It's pretty impressive, actually. Pretty much straight out. To be fair, there's a lot of oil in here, so potentially someone's been in there before, but yeah, it's in really good shape. So that's down to a completely bare frame now. It doesn't take long. So moving the camera around takes longer than the actual mechanics of it, but stripped completely bare so we can give it a good clean. Make sure there's no issues with it, but it looks pretty bomb-proof to be fair. Right, let's get some stuff in the rust remover. If you've not used this stuff before, you're missing out. This is a vapor rust. It's reusable, so you just keep using the same stuff within reason. It'll pretty much last you forever. You can see some junk in there from the last time it was used. Chuck it in a container. Chicken chow mein recommended. And you want to get rid of the rust, we're just going to leave overnight, so this crusty washer can go in here. Let's see quick release wherever that's disappeared to. So we'll chuck this in. I'll get rid of that little bit of corrosion on that handle. Need a bit more. Chuck that in. The crusty bolts for the water bottle cage, let's put them in. Let's see how good it can be. We're not going to use them again, but just to show you what it can do. I think we'll take this expander off, why not? Can stay in there. Put the bolt in, there's a little bit on the end. I didn't quite fit. The top end's got a little bit in, so we'll put that in as well. We won't any arms to put you in, will it? Let's strip this chain set down and put these bolts in as well. While we're here, we may as well. So normally overnight, 24 hours on this stuff. Well, this won't be 24 hours, but overnight should be more than enough. And of course there'll be spacers in there. I hate chain ring spacers. And some washers in here as well. Couldn't have made this more fiddly to put back together if they tried. Thank you very much, Muddy Fox, or Sagino, should I say. Right, I'll leave that soaking now overnight, and I'll come back tomorrow and we'll start putting it back together. So welcome back. Next day, I am just going to give this a good wipe down now, give it a good clean. I'm going to take this chainstay protector on. I found a different one that's going to stick on, a proper one, rather than some gaffer tape. So we'll give this a good clean, get that off, get the sticky residue off there as well, and give her a good polish, see how she looks. Paint on this is the down tube here. Obviously the bike's upside down at the moment. The paint is in fantastic condition around this area, considering the down tube normally gets a lot of abuse from stones and stuff being flicked up. It's actually in really, really good shape. The seat stays not so good. They've been painted at some point for sure. That paintwork's pretty much as good as new around the bottom bracket as well. It really is. Alright, let's get this off, get cleaned up underneath here. There's no paint left underneath here probably. Not too bad. Let's get that sticky label stuff on it. That's pretty much most of that off. These are just obviously stone chips that were being covered up. So I've got this old one I rescued from another bike, sort of same era. I'm just going to use some 3M tape to just stick that on there. I could really do getting hold of some more of these because they seem to be really, really difficult to find in this sort of plastic shaped style now. You can get stuff for modern bikes, no problem, but for this sort of era, like the old XT shark fin type thing, I can't find any anywhere. So if anyone's got a link for something exactly like that, please let me know because I could do with a few of them. How was the Evaporus done overnight? Look at this. Pretty damn good, I would say. There's a little bit still in there. The camera's making it actually look worse than it is, but that's got off the vast majority of it. The longer you leave it, the more it takes off as well, so that's not done a bad job at all. Bottom of that bolt looks much, much better. So these headset cups, that's actually oil. That will just wipe straight off now as well, thankfully. The expander, that's cleaned up lovely. Again, this just needs a bit of a wipe down. And all these chain ring bolts, pretty damn good. That washer's come up nice as well, remember. And those crusty water bottle bolts, it's got rid of some of it, not all of it, but they're going in the bin anyway, so. But they look pretty good. One little washer, that's off the bottle cage, don't need that. Yeah, good stuff. If you've not got any, I'd highly recommend it for bits and pieces like this. Hey, just keep reusing it. Within reason, you just keep reusing it. Just get something like WD-40 on here now, just to be a water displacer and get rid of any excess fluid. Grease up the threads. Just in here really, that's where you're concerned. Obviously that's full of water now, so you don't want that. Just get something in there. It's not water, is it? But you know what I mean. If I left it in for another 12 hours, it would probably come up slightly better, but as it is, it's still a massive improvement. Looks actually really good. I think I'm going to leave this off, to be honest. I like the look of those bosses rather than a crusty old cage, so yeah, I'll leave it off for now. So bottom bracket, I think this really can just go straight back in. Bit of grease on these bearings. Looks like someone's oiled it rather than greased it, but it's not done it any harm. They just look fantastic, these do. Let's give them a bit of a wipe down and put some fresh grease in there for them. Get this fixed cup in then, and we can put this back in together. So what I'll do is put some fresh grease in here first, because once it's in you can't really access it, and then we'll fit this back into the frame. With a spanner, I can't use my fancy tool if I fill it with grease. Made in Japan, Muddy Fox. God, they've changed a bit then, haven't they? Made in Japan now. God, Muddy Foe. What went wrong? I mean, they were never top of the range bikes, but they were pretty decent, don't get me wrong. But something went drastically wrong somewhere, and now they've ended up as sort of retail store, cheapest of the cheap, which is a shame. Some grease in these threads as well. They're still covered in oil actually, but this is just going to screw in so easily. You watch. Look at this. So the other one's really more for removal than installation. Right, that's pretty damn tight. So just get this axle in the right way round. Get this protective sleeve back in with its extra oil. So adjustable cup going in, and again the bearing's preloaded with grease. And this will just screw straight in as well. That's not far off there. Don't make them like this anymore, do they? So I'm quite happy where that is. So what we need to do now is nip up this lock ring without letting this middle bit spin. You just put 2 pegs in there, grab hold of one of these, tighten that up without letting the middle bit spin around basically. Don't need to be super tight, that's fine. Right, let's get these cups pressed back in now. Just a drop of grease to get them in nice and easy. I don't think I've ever had one of these C's, to be fair. So a little one went on the top. I've just checked my video footage, make sure I get it the right way around. And this one goes on the bottom. So there's no logos to line up or anything, it literally just goes straight in. No problem. That's in. They are literally perfect condition, brand new. I'm just reusing the old bearings again because again they're in really, really good shape. So no reason to waste a new set. We'll just drop the fork in. I've cleaned the fork up a bit as well, but it's not in the best shape unfortunately. Let's see if we can get this on. It did have a bit of a sticky thread, but hopefully it will just clear it through. I've got a tap if need be, but I think it's just one tiny thread that's got a tight spot. No problem, straight through. This is the tool you would use if you needed to clean up or tap a thread on the fork. Come with two different sizes. I don't like using it though because you can do a lot of damage if you get it even slightly wrong. The serrated one obviously goes on next with this little tab that drops in the fork. And then that went on there, that went on there, and then that locked it all down. I am just going to go and check my footage though before I tighten that up because I can't remember the exact order. Almost, I got one in the wrong place. It's a good job I videoed it. Good luck finding instructions for this online. So this washer goes on top of that cap. The rest of it is right, obviously. Oops. That goes there, and that goes there, not underneath it, and then the nut goes on. In theory, you should just be able to tighten this nut now, and nothing else moves because of that ratcheted bit. Ratcheted? That's not even a word, is it? You know what I mean. We'll tighten that fully when the wheel's on because it's much easier to get some leverage. But apart from that, looking good. This stem can go back in now. Put plenty of grease on this. I can't tell you how much these things seize. So you think seat posts are bad, these things are just as bad. Just iron this up roughly, but that looks pretty straight for the wheel. Tighten this down to 74 Newton meters. Joking. Needs to be quite tight though. Right, that's good. Right, I'm just going to use some polish on this stem, see if I can clean it up a bit, but you can see it's pretty tatty really, to be fair. Right, so I've just given these a quick polish as well, so let's get these in carefully. Very carefully. Set the sweep of these so they should be sort of backwards and maybe ever so slightly up at the same time. Personal preference, I guess, but then just nip this up. It's not a carbon fibre bar, so we can give this quite a bit, but normally you'd be about 6 to 8 Newton meters, obviously. That's fine there. Put these gear levers back on. Suntour friction shift on the left-hand side. Index on the right-hand side. Massive brake levers. Look at the size of these. These are the biggest ones I've ever seen. It's huge. Grip-wise, I've not got the new ones yet, so let's shift it back in. You're using brakes now, you sort of fingertip only, and literally get your whole hand on here and a bit more. It's just massive. There wasn't really much point in taking them off, but for the 30 seconds it takes, just lets you polish the bar underneath that area. It's raining quite a lot. Storm Benjamin, apparently we're getting. Start naming storms in the UK. I think we're just trying to change this into America. 8mm, not 9mm. That's why it wasn't tightening. Right, that's on. Big fan of Suntour thumb shifters. Don't work particularly well, but they look great. Actually, they don't work too badly. For what are these, 6-speed, 7-speed? I can't remember. Things have changed so much, haven't they? This is purely a friction shift here when you get your cable on. There's no click in there at all, but you can hear the quality. Nice solid clunks. You do have the option on this to change it from friction as well. So if you do get stranded and you bent your derailleur hanger, you just loosen this off, turn this dial to friction, tighten that back down, and then you're on friction on this side as well. So it's useful if you bent your derailleur hanger or something like that and you were stranded with no indexing, you can just put it into friction. These are not going back on. I don't even think they're worth saving, to be fair. They're pretty much knackered, so let's get this U-brake on. Just before we continue, I want to take a minute to thank this channel's ongoing sponsor, sportandleisure.com. Sport and Leisure are a UK-based cycling retailer with thousands of parts, tools, clothing and accessories ready to ship. Their listings are clear with proper descriptions and really good photos of the actual items you are buying, which I genuinely appreciate. Some of the other sites I've had to use, oh my God. And here's the best bit. If something's listed as in stock, it really is. Sitting on the shelf, ready to go. Better still, you can order before 3 PM and it ships the same day. UK shipping is free on all orders. but if you need it next day, it's only £2.50, an absolute bargain. If you're after new wheels, brakes, or even full group set or levers, their prices are pretty much unbeatable. Now, if you're not in a hurry to buy something right now, it's worth signing up to their mailing list, because they have some huge Black Friday and Cyber Monday discounts on the way. In the lead up, I'll be sharing a few teasers here, but if you want to be the first to know when the offers drop, make sure you're signed up to their mailing list. That way you'll get early notice before the best deals sell out. And don't forget, in the meantime, you can still use code BCR10 at checkout on your first order for an extra 10% off the already great prices. So the link's in the description below. Thanks again to sportandleisure.com. First things first, obviously you want some grease on these bosses. So with these brakes, basically it's just a spring in there, locates into this hole here, so you can't really go wrong. This piece here, you adjust the tension of the spring once you've bolted it on. So you notice there's no hole for the actual spring on the frame. It's all done in the actual brake itself. Take this 5mm down. It's already got some spring, but we can adjust that if we need to. This one feels quite nice. This one's basically nothing. So all you need to do is get a spanner on these two flats, wind the spring tension on while you loosen this off, and then nip it back down, and it'll be tight. Do it by hand just to show you. Pull that back around there, nip it down, and you've already got some spring tension. So you can wind this right round, well, not right round, but quite far. Loosen that bolt, pull this around to where you want it, nip it back up. And now, loads of tension, so you can kind of tune how your brake lever feels with how much spring tension you've got on here. You can balance the brake by doing that if it's rubbing on one side. So they're super adjustable, just need a little bit more on here. So when we get the wheel in and cable connected up, we can adjust, again, just come back to these and adjust them if we need to balance the brake, but they feel really good already. And then to connect this cable up, it's got its own little handle. So cool. Connect that in there, and that's it. Derailleur's actually in really good shape, so I'm not going to strip and clean it. It's going to work fine just as it is. I'll just give it a bit of a polish while it's on here. Pretty good there. Suntour. AccuShift. Debatable. So I can't put the front derailleur on yet until we put the chain set on, and I need to put the chain set back together first because it's in a million pieces at the moment, so let's do that next. I've left this ring soaking in degreaser for quite some time now, and it's actually, look at that, it's coming straight off, so clean the inside of this bit. You could obviously put this in ultrasonic, but being painted white, it's probably not ideal to put painted stuff in sometimes, especially older stuff like this. You never know what's going to happen with it. These rings are Sugino Cycloid, there you go. So funnily enough, this bike's exactly the same age as Biopace 1, first generation Biopace. How did both manufacturers come out with exactly the same thing, exactly the same year? Normally someone copies someone, but maybe Sugino were first. So many nuts and bolts and washers, it's ridiculous. I'm just going to spray these with some spray lube. That's all they're getting. Maybe a bit of grease on these flats here. That should be all they need. So put that one in there, put the spacer in. Put this chain ring on. The writing on the inside is there to line up with that one. And then you just need the inside inner chainring bolt to hold it all together. Once you've got one on, it's not too bad. Well, that's sort of in. We'll tighten them up in a minute. And then just go around and put all these in with the spacers. The spacers are the fiddly bit. It's alright to get in the first few in, but by the time you get to the last ones, it gets a bit more challenging. So I'm just going to tighten them from this side, and hopefully this doesn't spin, but if it does, we need a separate tool just to hold that still while we tighten it. We didn't need it, but if these do start spinning, there's a little spanner here that basically locates into those flats, like so, down the middle of the bolt, locates into the flats. And that just allows you to hold that tight. While you tighten the Allen key, basically it stops it spinning. So what they do start biting, they normally lock themselves in easily anyway. So alright, so then the inner chainring, just put these spacers on and pray that they stay in place while you put all the bolts in. Why don't they just cast it like this? Nip them up. Not too bad. I'll give it a final wipe down when it's all finished anyway, but it's actually looking not too bad at all. A bit of grease on these tapers. Bang it on. So we've got nuts on these. Nuts tend to be the sort of lower end way of doing it. They tend to fall off more than bolts, but there's no real way of converting it other than buying a brand new cup and cone bottom bracket in an obscure length from 40 years ago, so that's not happening. Let's tighten these up good and tight. I'm presuming these are the original caps, so some sort of logo on there. Get them lined up. Alright, that's on. Put this one on. I did a bike yesterday, what was it? Well, I don't know, Pinarello. Yeah, I did a Pinarello yesterday. It has a ceramic speed bottom bracket. You know, the ones that spin for hours. It had been used for 8-9 months, and wow, yeah, it really does do that. Really impressive still. Even after a season's use, it just span forever and just weighted itself down like this. It just sat at the bottom. Fantastic. Get what you pay for, don't you? Well, that's just hitting this cable on the back of this brake at the moment, that's all. It won't do that, obviously, when we've put the cables on. Right, now we can get the front derailleur on. Again, in really good condition. I've just given it a quick wipe down with the nylon brush and a cloth. Put some lube on the pivots, and away she goes. 5mm, where's you gone? There's one. I have so many 5mm Allen keys on this stand because it's pretty much the most common tool you would need. 4s and 5s. Right, I'm just making sure this is parallel first, and then we've got to get it right with these oval chain rings. So I'm just going to pull this out to over the big chain ring, and then you can see that because we're on an oval ring, you need to be clearing this piece here, so it's obviously still got to go up. It's probably a bit too high now. You're looking for about a 3mm gap between this piece here, so it's a fraction high. I'm getting pretty close to it here, so I think you'd be pushing your luck to get it much closer than that. And obviously when you get down to here, you're miles away, so oval chain rings, potentially you're going to get problems shifting because optimal height for this is 1 to 3mm, but when it goes down on the other shape, you're miles away. So if you're shifting at this point, yeah, you'll be a bit noisy. We'll get there. Right, so that's on. Front brake. Again, get some grease on these. This is finish line grease. I have many. Very basic die comp. Cantilever brake with a spring. That's it basically. Just hooks on there like that. This one goes through one of the holes on the frame, normally the middle one. You can put it in a different hole if you're that way inclined. Or you can use it to increase or decrease your spring tension, I mean. Right, tighten this up. Oh, nice washers on them though. I mean, don't get too excited by a washer, but it's a nice shape. It's not flat, look. Concave, convex. Always get that wrong. And then put this on here. Good old canties. You can't go wrong with a cantilever brake. I think they've nearly killed me on a number of occasions going down hills. That was on steel rims though, to be fair. This is a Facom T-handle. I did put some Loctite on those bolts as well, by the way. One thing that's missing on this bike is the reflector. And when you are using cantilevers, you should have a reflector on here as a safety measure, because if your brake cable snaps, basically, this straddle cable will then jam against the reflector bracket. If you don't have that bracket, basically this cable will jam against your tyre and throw you over the handlebars, so it's not ideal. I'll see if I've got one spare somewhere, but I'm not sure I've got any because they're pretty old school now. I'll see if I can find something there. Just refit this cable guide before I forget. That'd be annoying when I come to cable up and that's not there. Right, these are annoying me, so I'm just going to put these bolts in. Bit of grease on these, obviously. These are not riv nuts, these are brazed on. Look at these, proper quality. Don't get them now. Well, you do, but you pay a lot of money for them. This one doesn't want to go in, so I'm just going to run a tap through it. This is a Wearer tap set. It's a brilliant little thing on a ratchet. I'm not trying to cut a thread here, by the way, we're just clearing out whatever rubbish is in here. Absolutely not required, it just looks a bit better, I think. A bit of bling on it. Let's chuck the pedals on now, because we're going to need them soon to check the gears with. Plenty of grease on your pedal threads, you definitely want to grease these. Right, that's on. On. So I'll get this back wheel on now. I'm going to try and get this freewheel off first so I can clean this disc, because that'll clean up quite nicely on the spokes. But it's freewheel at the end of the day, it's not a free hub, so it can be a bit challenging. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 speed, Suntour freewheel. Right, let's get this off. So rather than make this video an hour and a half long, I'm going to cut the freewheel section out and put that into a separate video, because it's quite interesting. Entirely self-inflicted damage by myself. So if you do want to see how I managed to resolve it, check that video out as well. I think you'll quite enjoy it. It got a bit violent. Right, let's carry on with this Courier. We do have the original Muddy Fox tyres, and they're actually in reasonable condition. Normally you'd expect these to be all cracked and perished. This bit's falling off, but that doesn't really do a great deal. But I've seen a lot worse, put it that way. There's stuff hanging on the wall. My Cannondales are a lot worse than this, so, and how many miles this bike's likely to ever do. I think they're going to look a lot better than these Billy Bonker things for display at least. So let's get these on. So my freewheel removal didn't go to plan. It's ended in catastrophe, basically. Something happened. Well, that is a problem. That is a big problem now. Big problems now. I'm going to need to track down a new freewheel for this and then somehow get the old bits off. It's not gone well at all. You can get the old one like that. Thankfully they don't really exist anymore. You get free hubs. Not tubeless compatible, sorry. Look how easy these tyres are going. Oh my god. Literally just fall on. It's got air in it and it's staying up. That'll do for me for now. The next video will be how to get a broken freewheel off, because this is destroyed. However, Still sort of freewheeling. Okay, let's come back in the bike for now. I'll have to revisit that at some point because that's not gone well at all. So when you got horizontal dropouts like this, you've got to make sure your wheel is centered in the frame. Vertical dropouts do it pretty much automatically for you. Horizontal, just make sure you're centered between the chainstays, which this one is. And that's in. So much better with the amber wall tyres on it, even if they are a bit tatty. So just to demonstrate, if the main brake cable above this did snap, then this basically not ideal. Don't take that reflector bracket off, guys. I've got one here. Let's get this on. If you have one of the Shimano cantilevers where it had a cable and it's got a little plastic holder there, basically the cable is going directly to the cantilever, you get away with it. But where you've got a normal straddle cable and a yoke, you definitely need this. Right, hideous reflector fitted. Essential safety feature. So if your brake cable does snap now, obviously all it's going to do is hit the reflector bracket and not put you in to the dentist's. I was going to put this chain back on. I have given it a quick clean as well, so it's not come up too badly actually. So the idea with this is this small piece of pin that's been left protruding will basically hook into here like so, like that. Clip together, and then you just push the pin back through. Yes, it's not the perfect way of doing it, however, it's the way that everyone did it for about 100 years before quick links and stuff came around. And like I say, this bike ain't going anywhere. I don't think it's going to be a wall hanger, museum piece type thing anyway, so like that. It pretty much holds itself together, and then we just push that pin back through. Don't do this on a modern chain, 9, 10, 11, and 12, 13 speed. These 5, 6, 7 speed, you'll get away with it, but right, push that in until you just start to see it coming through the other side, exactly the same amount. Take that back out, and we're just going to see if we've got a stiff link, because what, like that, you have a very stiff link. So that's what this second set of plates on this tool is for. So you back that off there, and then you find your stiff link, which is this one here. Put it backwards like that, turn that till it just touches it, and then we're just going to turn this handle a tiny bit like that, and that'll get rid of that stiff link. Gone. Well, obviously got no gear cables fitted at the moment, so can't really do much at the moment. You can just check this Derailleur limit screw is okay. You can just push that up with your thumb. We haven't touched any of those, so there's no reason for that not to be in the correct place, and that's okay. And it's freewheeling. So I'm going to try and reuse the old cables if I can, because they are actually in pretty good condition. There's C on it. What if it was a Campag cable? Well, that'd be a bit excessive, wouldn't it? So this is obviously the front Derailleur one, the shorter one. This is the back, so that's how we go. It can be challenging because the splayed end that's open there can be a bit difficult to get through cable housings, and the little kink doesn't help either. You can straighten the kink out fairly easily, so you get rid of that, no problem. But you just got to get it through the housing. So first of all, go through the shifter, which is easy on these, and then through this black piece here. You can kind of bend it up to the angle that you're trying to get to, because I'm trying to get over here, and it's trying to aim down here at the moment. So I've just bent it up to try and preempt it to go in the right direction a bit more. So this plastic piece comes off, but it's not going to help us really, because it has to go through both at the same time. All we're trying to do is get through this hole here, which is pretty small. If you put it through there now, you won't be able to get this back on. That's the problem. So it's got to go through both at the same time. I'm sure this is going to be possible. Some people say you can like melt this with a heat gun and whatnot, but to be fair, I've tried it before and it didn't do anything at all. Right, I'm going to heat this up, and I'm going to try and just put a dab of solder on there. Solder, sorry, American. Solder. Solder! It's all a bit experimental. It doesn't want to stay, it needs flux on it, doesn't it? It ain't going to work. Right, let's see what happens with that now. Right, let's see if that's any easier. Probably not. Probably just melt the shifter. Right, see, there you go. Wow, there you go. I've learned something, and that worked. Every day's a school day, guys. Try it on this one again. I really don't see how this is sort of melting them together, but it worked, so I'm not going to argue. If only you could fix freewheels like this. There you go. Actually, it's not that hot now. Click it back down to 6, not 12, 6 gears. Such a nice action there, look. Very nice. All right, housings. So your gear housings are in really good condition, and they're white as well. So I'm going to reuse these. I'm just going to put some lube down them first, so just pull these end caps off. Get your nozzle down here, get some lube. These are in really good condition, there's no corrosion on there at all. And just try and squirt a bit down there best you can. So the other way you can do it, you can just spray it on your hand and just run it through the cables like this. Kind of get my welded cables through these outers. Welded. Right, they're cooled down there. Going on. Well, there could be a convert on that. I tried it before and it didn't work, and then that's actually worked really well on both of them. And I can show you how terrible these gears are going to be. They might be right actually. They weren't working when I started, remember, so we should be able to get them a bit better than that. Get these down the down tube there, like that. The middle one, I'm guessing, will be for the U-brake. Yeah. This is the front brake cable. It's just got to go through this little pulley system on the stem down to a straddle. That little bit locates in there, and then the cable obviously goes into the lever. That looks short, doesn't it? The brake lever must have been a bit further in then. And I can see a line here where the shifter used to be. So that'll be long enough now, because that's where it was before. Plenty long enough. I'll just move these in as well because they're going to be wrong. Get this back brake cable back in, into there, and then just drop this down into that down tube as well. Okay, so we're done at the front end. Just need to connect all these back up to the shift, the derailleurs and brakes, etc. Right, let's get this front one done first. This is the easiest one. So I'm just going to pull this up. There's no barrel adjuster on this derailleur or the shifter or anywhere on the frame, so you just need to pull it through with a little bit of tension and nip it up. There's a distinct groove that this sits in on this derailleur. Does it move? Yes, it does. Tiny bit of slack on there. You can see that cable just moving around, so it will still work. So there's no indexing on this, it's friction, but if you had a barrel adjuster, that's what you would use. Just get rid of that slack. I'll try and pull it through a bit more actually. Try and pull it through a bit tighter. That's a bit better. A little bit on the long side, so I'm just going to chop some of this off. It's just going to catch on the crank otherwise. And I can't fit purple, I'm going to have to fit silver. Same on the rear derailleur, it's another piece of housing somewhere. This gear cable, we've got to thread this through this piece of the frame. Not easy. Right, I'm going to put a piece of liner through there because it's a bit ridiculous design to be fair. So I'm just going to add some of this nylon liner through there. Hopefully it will go through the other side. Pull that cable back out for a minute. Right, that goes through there, like that. I can at least get this cable started in there. Right, we've got the cable through at least. I think I'll leave that in there. It just seems to be a better idea than the cable running against the metal. We just twist these on. If you've got an open end, just twist these on and it kind of holds the cable together if need be. But this one's going in pretty well. Yeah, there you go. Through the barrel adjuster on the derailleur. We have got one on the back obviously because we've got index gears. So we do need a barrel adjuster, that's for sure. And then again, make sure you get this on the right side of this. There's a little square plate around here. Basically hooks around there and then nips it underneath it. Sits there like that. Tighten the cable up a bit. Right, that should move now. Right, she's up. Next. That's about as good as they get. Just go up onto the middle ring. There you go. Onto the big rings. Need to adjust that a little bit. On the middle ring there. That freewheel that you can hear is because it's knackered. Basically falling off now. Freewheel has literally just fell to pieces. Right, that shouldn't be looking like that. New freewheel required. Cut. Right, that didn't go well. I'll have to revisit that shortly. Yeah. Only got myself to blame. Just going to connect this front brake and the back brake up, and then I'm going to take that wheel out and we'll see what's left of that freewheel, because there's about 1 million ball bearings on the floor now. It literally just fell to pieces as I was using it. Right, this kink in the cable is going to give us a pretty damn good clue of where that wants to be, because we haven't changed anything else. That should work. Actually, we might have changed the stem height, so it might not be. Let's see where we're at. Kind of working. I do want to pull it up a little bit further. We have got a barrel adjuster we could use, or we could just raise the stem and that would do the same job ultimately, but we do need to just pull a bit more cable through here, do it properly. I've never had a freewheel disintegrate like that. That's hilarious. It's a shame the camera was pointing at the front derailleur when it happened. I'm just going to move this up a tiny bit, a couple of millimetres. And about there, that should be perfect. That's perfect. Lever travel. Very nice. Pretty much cock on, look at that. I've still got this stupid purple thing on. I'm going to cut this off. I can't have that one. Sorry, purple. You belong in the 90s. We need a full 90s purple bling build. That's what we need. It'll come one day, don't worry. Pad's a little bit on the low side, isn't it? So literally hold the Allen key in there just to stop the whole thing moving when you undo this nut. And then you're controlling the pad with the Allen key, basically. Kind of like that. That'll do. The other side's okay. Alright, just got to connect this back one up, exactly the same basically, but not the same. There's still bearings falling out of this freewheel, on literally landing on my head as I'm standing here. 3 slots on here, front derailleur, rear brake, rear derailleur, and then just tighten this back up. Another bearing. Jesus, how many is in there? 44 I believe, off the top of my head. To be fair, you still get these, well you don't get U-brakes, but you still get some road bikes with calipers on the chainstays like this. So just hook that back into the straddle cable. Third hand tools required. Just clamping these pads to the rim because that's super difficult to do with a broken thumb. Alright, that's locked onto the rim now. So that gives you a load of slack to play with down here, so you should be able to just hook this in. Basically, it's just got to hook back in here now, but because the proximity to the chainring, it's pretty challenging. I'm going to do it with a cable instead. There you go. Take this off, it's not going to work with that one. That's for sure. Oh, that's me squeezing the lever. Pretty good. We do need a bit more tension on this side, so literally all we're going to do is undo that bolt, pull this back down with a 13, and that will put more tension on this spring. Put your spanner on there, loosen it off like that, and then I'm pulling this down, and you can see the caliper literally pull out at the same time. Hold it in position. Hold it in position and nip that bolt back up, and then check it again. Probably a little bit too much if anything, so back it off a little bit. Like about there. You can really feel the spring against there. Maybe a little bit, I'm going to put some more on the other side because it gives you a real nice return on the spring on the lever then. Alright, let's try that. A little bit more. Quite a bit more there. Alright, that's lovely. They're both moving pretty much exactly the same amount now. Alright, that's lovely. That lever feels fantastic as well. And now we need to get this wheel back out because we've got issues. Come on, you little bitch. Oh, no way is that coming off like that. Alright, so now I can finally refit the wheel and check these gears, see if they actually work. And my freewheel's not going to explode. I think I've already done the gears, to be fair. I can't remember, it was that long ago. Finally run through these gears. That's a limit screw not going up there, that's not an adjustment. I can't physically push that with my finger now. Just going to take that low limit out a bit. Not far off. Like that. Straight up there now. For 6-speed Suntour, 1980s, that's actually shifting really nicely. Beauty with thumb shifters, look how fast you can change your block. Look, ready, done. Not exaggerating, that's not fast forward. And up again, like that. Instant. Can't do that with the IT. That is finally done. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'm not so sure I did. Yeah, of course I did. Always like a challenge. We got there in the end. Bit of an unexpected twist with that freewheel. What should have been a 5-minute job took, well, quite a lot longer than 5 minutes, let me tell you. But we got there in the end, that's the important thing. Another retro bike, ready to do another 30, 40 years. Probably won't go very far in those 30, 40 years in reality, but it's a survivor, classic Courier. What's not to like about it? So plenty more of this sort of content to come. We've got new bikes, old bikes, broken bikes, not so broken bikes, fat bikes, thin bikes, trikes, everything. Stay tuned. If you know what you've done so, you enjoy the content, please consider hitting that subscribe button. It really does help me out. And thank you very much for watching.